to cure or to deal with the effects of the alleged or the imagined fake fertilizer people are talking about. But however, Chairman, this country for a long time has depended or has used in DAP, and DAP fertilizer is the one that has the ability and the effects of getting acid or acidifying our soils. So within government and in the realization of this, we have already developed the National Soil Agricultural Management Policy that will address the issues of restoration and use how to manage our soils properly. The current program on fertilizer that we are running, Chairman, does not have DAP as part of the fertilizer we are distributing to the farmers. And this is all geared to ensuring that we give fertilizer that is ability to heal our soils that have for a long time been damaged by DAP. That's why you find, like in the market, we have fertilizer like Fomi Kuza, Fomi Otesha, Fomi Nenepesha. This is a fertilizer that is 50% chemical, 50% organic matter. And the whole idea is to ensure that we gradually fertilize our soils and really reduce the acid in our soils. We have also discussed about or asked the farmers, once soil tests have been done, to ensure that we lime our soils to reduce the acidity. So that is how we are trying to deal with the effect of our sick soils. But this problem has not arisen because of what the stories are about fake fertilizer for now, because it has, whatever people imagine is something that has not been used. This is the time people are talking about a fertilizer that they're not comfortable with. We may be probably, it's not part of the question that we will be answering. And if it is, we will be able to shed light. We do not have a problem. So there is no reason to why we would have any immediate problem to address the effect of any fertilizer problem for the current season, because this is when the season has started. Chair, you have asked us on question number 12 to compare our maize harvest in the country before and after the fertilizer subsidy program. Chairman, in 2023, gone with us, we are in a very good range. And when immediately we started this program in the 2022, immediately this administration came into office, the total number, we were able to increase the total area and a maize to 2.88 million hectares. And we were able to push within that first year production of maize from an average of 34 million for below 2022 to the current production of above 60 million bags. So when you look, Chairman, in terms of increase, you realize that we have increased the production by over 70%, because the numbers have moved from 30 million, 34 to 60 million. We have increased our acreage to 2.8 million hectares. The experiences, the problems we have encountered in this subsidy program, Chairman, of course, Chairman, you know, there are certain, the supply chains have been disrupted because of a global crisis, like the Russia-Ukraine war. People ships are taking longer than before. Um, uh, that year we had serious problems to do with fluctuations of the dollar against the Kenya shilling. We also had serious financial constraints because there was also delay in the release of a subsidy program component, and we would take or we would delay in paying our suppliers. Of course, not I can't forget to mention that we are also constrained in terms of staff because we didn't have budgets to put in more staff. We were working with the counties to really do the last mile deliveries within very short periods. We are implementing an e-voucher. We had to take time to register farmers because we didn't want it done manual. So we had a number of challenges which, Chairman, we've really tried to deal with, and I think it's getting better as we move forward. I think the last experience or challenge I had was last week when I went to Erbagon, Sirikwa, Molo, in Nakuru County, where there was issues of power disruptions. So without power, farmers were not able to redeem their vouchers, and the may require us to start thinking or coming before this committee to ask for money to be able to ensure that they are standing by generators within our redemption centers. Finally, and the last, Chairman, is you've asked us to really to give any other information that I feel is necessary to bring to the attention of this committee. Chairman, what I feel is necessary to bring to the attention of this committee for now is for the committee to appreciate, Chair, that the country has had a national serious food security problem. And there is need for all of us to work together to restore confidence to our farmers, for them to be able to produce more food for ourselves, or more food that we can get a surplus to feed other nations, to earn value for this country to join the class of food exporters, because I believe we have good soils, we have very young population that we can really put into employment through agriculture. And Chairman, I must also bring to your attention that we really appreciate the support of this committee as a ministry. We don't take it for granted, because whenever we've called upon you to support us in our budget, to come in to advise, you've all through been there. So I think it's important here for me, on behalf of the ministry and all my other agencies within the ministry, to really to appreciate the good work this committee is doing in this country. So, Chairman, I think that's all I have to for now. We probably will invite we will be willing to answer any question that probably comes from the committee as a subsidiary.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, before we open to questions, let me just point out a few issues that probably we expected to see and have not been able to see so far. The first one is we specifically requested for the standardization mark issued by the Kenya Bureau of Standards, the certificate of incorporation, the PIN number for the fertilizer that was being sold by NCPB.
Pardon, Sam?
That has not been attached.
Sorry, PIN?
There was the standardization mark issued by KEPS to NCPB, the certificate of incorporation, because you cannot just start working with anybody, although we need money. The PIN for that particular organization, whose fertilizer that they distributed. Then the other one was the agreement signed between NCPB and the 51 Capital Kenya, which we also requested to be attached. We haven't seen it. Now, coming back to your report, there are a few issues that probably we would have liked to see. When we were requesting on question number 1, the annual consumption in Kenya, we did say the 2024 expectations. We said the annual consumption, and you have data for very many years, which you could actually even give us in form of an average. So we expected you to give us an average annual consumption for Kenya, not the expected fertilizer, uptake this year. So the report sent us on 2023, 2024. Would have been happier to see 2022, 23, 21, 22, so that we see how this has been growing. Now, I'll take you back to your report on page number 7, which tackles the question number 4, the total payments made to the suppliers as a subsidy component in the financial years, which you have ably given us, that during the long rains and the short rains, our expectation was to match this with the financial year allocations, which you normally get. And for 2021-22, probably that was for one season given. I think when you look at the seasons, it's possible. When you look at the 2022-23, we voted 7.2 billion to the parcel fertilizer subsidy. We would like to know how much of that money went to the seasons, because you have given us in seasons. And when you give us in seasons, you are telling us to rethink season instead of thinking financial year, and we allocate money by financial year. We would have liked this information given per financial year so that we may be able to check what we've given or voted in the financial year is what has been used. So this doesn't inform us appropriately. Now, your arguments on question number 5, the SBL Innovate. Here we are seeing it being called a soil conditioner for the first time. When KEPS came here, they talked about an organic fertilizer. And they have a specific number. And they never talked about soil conditioner. So we would like to know specifically from LCPB, because people have been growing in other areas before. So we would like to know what proportion. We would like you have experts. Let's let them go. Let them attribute what went to was as a result of extended rain and what was as a result of fertilizer. I think I'll ask my members to ask a few questions, and starting with Bravo Yegon.
Excuse me, Chairman. I don't allow me, before we get to the members, be able to respond to those issues. We don't get so mixed up, because we really want you to have an opportunity to interrogate this, and then we can move to the.
Go on, please.
Thank you, Chairman. And allow me to say that the issues that you've raised, issues that also concern me. My apologies if the expectation not met the expectation of the members in this response. However, on the plane for time to be able to specifically be able to give you, because I will require to do with my team at the statistics department to even be able to those actual figures, so that you are able to know the increase in production. Is it on the basis? Is it on the basis of the acreage? And if the two contributes to increase production, a percentage. The average consumption of fertilizer per year, I think, is also something, Chairman, when you get back, we can write and send you information. Kimote, NSPB took capital on board and on board of documents that were supplied. So we also require that, because the bundle that we send to this committee must include their certificates and the commercial contract that there exists between us and SBL Capital. So, Chairman, what I'm saying is that I'm willing to provide this information because I do not have it here, and the team that is not with me here. Finally, Chairman, on issues on KEFIS, Chairman, allow me to use this opportunity because there is relationship between the story out there that on the issue of fertilizer with what KEFIS is doing, that we've brought to your attention that we do samples every year to have one of the very best minds that runs this KEFIS, Professor Mutui, here. Chairman, I want you to make it go on record that I want him to really give experience and knowledge for us all and the committee to even understand better the story and this fertilizer we are talking about, because he's an expert. And when we have an expert, some can only be able to learn from that expert evidence that he may be able to give before this. Because that is area of specialization, Chairman. You can engage him because you're also Chairman and that is your area. To really ask Mutui to explain himself better to the question of number, I think, on each what KEFIS is doing, and this story of fertilizer, what it then Kimote will be able to give to answer that one. So and, allow me ask Mutui to be able to answer to that issue, because that is the city of standard.
What is out of wonder outside?
Chairman, I am a bit worried, Chair, to what happened to our Honorable CS Linturi. You know, when became a CS, we cannot him. He knows how we operate here. And Chair, you know, why we are here are waiting just to hear how did we get the so-called fake, whether it's fertilizer, now I've had another new name. How did we get out of there? The farmers who have been, who have bought this fertilizer, how do we compensate? You see what he has done? He's just gone He's answered our questions one by one. Even the PS is not here. We're almost, there's nothing much that the CS is telling us. So, Chair, my request is this, can we get serious? I know that, but with KEFIS here, he's also going to come with the scientific words and everything else, and we'll get lost somewhere. So, Chair, the biggest, how did we get here? How are we going to get out of here? And I think that is why it should be as brief as that. Yeah. He has given a lot of information, Chair, but it's just a very simple question. Did we monitor what we gave? Are we make sure that we don't get back there? Our farmers safe? We have seen all these things in the media. Censored the African media, whatever it was, God sent. I've also not seen the communication between the two. So as he answers and he gets the afraid when the experts start talking, raise us and what and confuse us more. Is that how did we get here as a country? How do we get compensate our farmers? As simple as that, Chair, so that we even know who colluded with these suppliers. Are they going to be arrested? We know who the officers are. So as simple as that, so that we don't really go into the civil servant way with a lot of, we are not going to go anywhere, Chair. And that is just a concern as they prepare to answer. Yeah. Please on this side one day, and you know the questions that Kenyans have. Don't take us round. What you have done in just the way, and then you have done it, then you go.
Chair, report for this. Chair, we are still going to I have a supplementary. Yeah. You know, my sister here was asking me, which professor are we talking about? I've told her the Professor Theophilus and a professor of what actually Sabina is talking about is we need and candid discussion on the matter of fertilizer. Number one, how did fake fertilizer end up in what you've answered is how the fertilizer itself, but we are talking about the fake SPL Innovate fertilizer. How did it get into the SNCBB stores? The gel, what do you call it? Fake ones. You've told us that you signed a contract, the SPL Innovate in 2022. That is on 31st March, which is almost two years now. And then also in the same notes, you've said every year you take samples. Fertilizer we have is okay or not. Now we've gotten ourselves to the quagmire of the samples for last year. Are we able to know whether
did you do the annual and what was the report on annual surveillance, whether the fake fertilizer was there, or this fake fertilizer, when did it start? When did the rain started beating us on the issue of fake fertilizer? So what we're asking is, fertilizer end up in NCBB stores? Because a farmer will go to NCBB stores and trust that whatever is being sold in NCBB stores is certified. Unlike maybe outside shops where you may doubt. But when you go to an NCBB store to go and buy something there, it's like I'm going to buy seeds at Kenya Seed. And certified seeds, unlike when I'm buying at the back street there. So we want to know, how did this in NCBB stores?
Point of order, Chair.
Chair, because I was on a point of order. Just 1 minute, Chair, because I was on a point of order, he didn't allow. So, you can also not come and tell us the shortcomings of that CAFIS. And we have an act that is as old as 2012, we are in 2012. And say, we want you to assist us with 1, 2, 3. Don't just tell us the shortcomings. I've seen, I don't know how many staff members. Is he also even we need to amend or help them with the regulations? So those are the, I think we need to talk about real things, Chair. We can put away these questions and let's have a conversation. And I think that is the best approach. Let's have a conversation instead of this towards this. And even the other question we can ask the CS, do you have other information that you think is important for ourselves? And also, because we may have missed it in our questions. So let's not just do this reading question 1, question 2, but let's have the conversation. And we know how to get ourselves out of here.
Honourable members, I think we are jumping the gun. We were going to have a conversation with the CS. He has made his presentation. And we should get the answers from him, from the questions that we are going to ask from now on. So probably I would like us to be a bit. Let him respond to your point of order, whether from now on you are going to react to. And of course, we shall ask you the questions that pertain to the issues that are ongoing right now. Then I think we'd like to be a little bit more orderly by taking a few more. Respond to the point of order, Honourable CS, and that of the Vice Chair.
Chairman, let me say that, I'm open to discuss. Always willing and ready to share any information that I have. And I know, just like Sabina has put it, that Kenyans are waiting for an answer. So if we leave this meeting without really telling, we will really not have answered or met the expectation. So if we were to, without really having to go to deal with the issues of the questions, then we would be able to be for the right more open. But when Brighton and my friend asked about fake fertilizer, when you look at these questions, there is nothing like a question on fake fertilizer. So I cannot answer questions which are not been asked. There is nothing. So unless if you really wanted me to mention about that story, know what you really wanted to interrogate through this question. But if this is a conversation between the ministry and a team that's to share openly, because we mean well for our people, it becomes very, 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 very easy. So I am very honest when it comes to issues of public interest, and I am ready to give information, really even being forced to, but because the responsibility, if we now fund in the country based on the president and I as the person running that docket, and you, representatives of the people, and when there is no food, you really have to work out ways of trying to support our people. So we can do it better, I am ready.
Okay, thank you very much. You are ready. Now let's be systematic. And the expose before a lot of fake fertilizer was found its way in the market, and many people now open their eyes to it. So I think ask questions as it were now. I'll ask Honorable.
Yeah.
Let him answer alongside. Honorable Kiplagat and Kipagati.
You know, as I sit here, I represent the constituency that consumes, in fact, more than 90% of all the other counties. And I can see from the figures so far, soya has 1,000 bags, which is just 30%. We are still waiting for more consignments. Chair, you remember of the House, I was particularly concerned on the slow distribution of the fertilizer that was happening. I'm a worried man on the presentation of the CS, and I wish CS was, because there are two facts, PS. One of it is because of the SPL Innovate, which I've also seen they have come with capital, 51 capital, maybe when you switch. And the fact is, from the presentation of KEPS, what is on the back as the nutrient was tested is different. That's a fact. What they are selling, the composition of what the composition and the composition that the license was given for the organic fertilizer. The second fact is that which has come from the ministry on your last press release, NPK 102610. That is from Kel Chemicals. We don't know the company. Kel Chemicals from the suppliers. Maybe you'll tell us which company is that. Was actually presentation that fertilizer is fake. You know, even from the last press release released by the ministry itself, and legal action from the last release was supposed to be taken. Those are fundamental facts that we need as this committee. We are to know how did we end here. The other stories we can leave it for the presentation when you. So on those facts, I want to ask the following. First is on the distribution. You know, PS, we are in a crisis. The North Rift, we are supposed to be planting the latest by 10th, which is just 2 days from. Is it 2 days from now? Been magnanimous enough. After for the last 3 days, it has not rained for purposes of us trying to finish. We find out that there are no enough fertilizer in some areas, especially the North Rift. What mechanism? We want to know the mechanism the ministry used to distribute the fertilizer so that we end. Farmers have been queuing and there is no fertilizer. Up to now, we still have challenges. We know that you are saying there is, and our worry is, and the data is known by the ministry, our farmers, the last day they, if it extends so much, maybe on 15. Anything else, they'll result in the low production or in terms of production, affect the food security. So that is one. Secondly, on the issue of fertilizer, it's a bit sad that we have two important authorities that are supposed to. We have KEPS, which is actually the universal in terms of product quality, and then we have KEFIS, which actually deals with our agricultural inputs. Now, the fact, CS, the fact is, SPL Innovate, that fertilizer, the soil composition or soil condition, we have a problem. PEPs have proved through tests that what they need to be given license is different from what is being sold, and they have withdrawn. So we want to know how did whom do we pin? Do we pin CAPS because of the monitoring and supervision? CPP because they are also supposed to do quality. They have a quality assurance. Is it quality what? Quality assurance. At that, and we really want to know from 2022 up to now how much of this fertilizer, whichever it is, how much has been sold. So those are facts that we need to get ourselves in. Issue of subsidized fertilizer. I wish we could not have gotten any fake subsidized fertilizer. There, we need to know this scale green because they were blending. It is a blending. What was the initial capacity they were able to produce, and in terms of to know last year they were awarded how many bags? This year they are awarded how many bags? Because if they were able to produce maybe for calculative purposes, maybe their production is 50,000 bags. Somebody to supply 700,000 bags per year within 1 month. That is why he ended up collecting manure to package, and he didn't know how to granularize, and that is why we are in that mess. So we really want to know, and I think CS, and the best way is for you to join our side so that we can know really what happened, because in terms of proving that the problem that has happened, how did we get there? Thank you.
I think, CS, there's something you said which we need to correct. The fact that you about the fake fertilizer, and I actually want to refer to your document, touching on documents that are supposed to prove that what NCPB was distributing was okay. On page 9 of this document, the second graph that showed us from page 8 to 9. Now that paragraph, which starts with the 51 Capital Kenya Limited. Paragraph, it tells you that KEPS had all the documents. And these are documents marked as annex here. You are saying you have provided the documents, but they are not here. So what are we dealing with? And these are the fertilizer, and the agency that deliberately distributes the wrong product. Maybe you more, or you do rather deal with that.
I would want to take note of all those issues not been provided, so that they organize another bundle for you, so that you can clear your minds, on what document has been made reference to.
I think,
to be honest, this, no one asked for indulgence for tomorrow, but
for Wednesday,
for Wednesday, so that because I was out of the country for a week. Now I've come this morning from Meru directly to this meeting, so I was very neat in trying to check the annexes. So if they are missed out, there's an internal issue that I will have to deal with. I will beg to be given time to supply you with the necessary material that is not what is alleged, which is not, because there's nothing, Chairman, to hide. And still again, insist that then we can discuss. They don't have.
I think you may have to reorganize your documents, because the one that you are mentioning on page 10, as Annex 4C is also not there. So they are quite and you need to give us a comprehensive report. But I think I would like to suggest this. Can I give members questions, and then you have the package, you know how to deal with it. So we are over to Honorable Kibagendi. Maybe you.
Thank you, Chair. Mine, Bwana Waziri, is to ask why now? We have had the same companies doing this for the last 2-3 years, but this has never happened. This is the first time we're getting issues of the fake fertilizer. Given the backdrop of the harvests that we got last time, there's fertilizer, and we were almost food sufficient. Do you think that moving back to sabotage our produce, to sabotage our harvest, so that, because why now? Last year it was a success story. We had subsidized fertilizer, it has been a success story. So why would we be talking about fake fertilizer now on the of a bumper harvest? Thank you.
Systematically now.
Yeah, now I can ask my question. One, I would like to be sure on how they do their checkpoints and whether there is coding, whether they can be able to trace from and even to the farmers. So as the farmers complain, you can know what is genuine and not genuine. I would also want to know whether the ministry has the compensation, because how do you compensate those farmers who got the fake? I don't know whether it's the fertilizer or soil. And it is. The other one, is he able to name, Chair? Is he very specific, the supplier whose products have been flagged? Is he able to name for Kenyans to know? And is the ministry planning to do, once you name the supplier, are you blacklisting, or are you still going to do business with us? Is it possible also for you to do a recommendation such that such a person who takes advantage of our innocent farmers will not be allowed to country or do business with government? On your officers, I think I'd asked that question. What who didn't take the necessary steps? What steps are you taking on that officer? On the officers, and finally on KEFIS, any shortcomings? What is your asking from this committee? If it's about the amendment of your acts, if it's a committee that is responsible on the budgeting and everything else, what are you asking from us? I think there's some stuff I've seen, there are only 3 in the whole country in Nairobi. So I would like to see a proper document from KEFIS on what they're asking. And finally, maybe our CS is on the local production. Have you touched on local production of fertilizers? Do we have to keep on importing? Do we have a plan? Because farmers will be here. Is it cheaper for us to do the production here? How did it cost? We have all. What is your asking or your recommendation from this committee so that we can also be able to build Kenya and buy Kenya? Thank you.
Okay, over to Honorable Double L.
Thank you, Chair. And it is evident that we have seen both the national and the county government in the subsidized fertilizer. So why the duplication of the same, and how can accountability be tracked? Government. The next question that I would ask is, why was SLDR International exempted from on consignment basis? Thank you.
Honorable Selassie.
Mine is on the issue of Kenya National. You all know aware that the Ministry of Agriculture is well mandated the fertilizer. How did it come and arrive that you gave it that mandate to the Ministry of under the national trading? And if I may ask, who influenced it? And because you can see, even if it means that you have to do, where are those experts? Because they must, if it's the ministry, it's just like non-pharmaceuticals. You cannot just give it the mandate to anyone else to purchase. Maybe there was an interest in that business. And maybe if it's good, you should also tell the committee who advised you. And then there is this point that why was a Kenya National Trading Company processing payment for the subsidy component of the financial year 2022-2023? The money was budgeted under the State Department for Agriculture. How was that money accounted for? That maybe I would wish to know. Before this expose, when we were looking for the information for the sugar task force, we moved all around the country. Very clear that the fertilizer that you are supplying was not good. Why did you just until today is when now you are trying to explain? It means that you are experts are supposed to be doing. And then we have this one. How much did the NCPB charge as agency fee for each oil condition that was distributed by them? And if this thing was being 2022, then I've seen in your report, you are saying that you have come up with that. It's like it was like a scandal. Was it like a scandal just to get the money from Kenyans by just packaging the soil and selling to the Kenyans so that money to pay and maintain its whatever, pay its staff? Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Yes, my question is very simple. Analysis conducted by KPS on the GPC soil conditioner before its distribution began. Another one is the Kenyan's currency has gained against major currencies in the world. Was it the impact of this on the prices? Can I repeat again? Yes. The Kenyan's currency has gained against the major currencies. Was it the impact of this on the prices of fertilizers?
I think you can ask your questions before I ask mine.
Okay, Chair.
I thought I should ask first.
Oh, there's Odanga, but
you have
Odanga, you have not introduced yourself.
To the ministry, Chair. I'm Geoffrey Makoha Odanga, MP for Matayos, and member of the Agriculture and Livestock Committee. Thank you, Chair. I want to know from the from the CS, from page 5, if Chiroma Fertilizer Limited, which is has some here, and Chiroma Fertilizer are one and the same company, or it's an error?
Are you done? Odanga, we with you or you are done?
Proceeding. I also would like to ask the CS if this failure to provide that on the number of farmers who are supplied with the fertilizer, and also by somewhere failure to do that again, if this is something that should be entertained by failure to provide data. And we know data is very critical in anything that we should be doing to be able to satisfy the Kenyan public. And then, why was hesitant to allow the KEBS initially to enter into their stores and do the analysis? You know, initially, the KEBS and then NCPB really denied that they take a very long route writing letters. And like, why would that happen in an... Thank you.
Okay, Chair. I have a few I'd ask one, and I want to ask the CS. There has been a pronouncement by the ministry giving different signals. The CS says there is no fake fertilizer circulating. Is withdrawing some fertilizer, which is fake, like Kale Chemical, just the other day. We want you to appraise us of that, because we need to know what is the... Number two, in all these, farmers have actually all these drama of supply of fake fertilizer. Some farmers have lost. This is a common question that we need to answer before we move out of this committee. Who will compensate farmers who till the land, who bought certified seeds, who went to NCPB stores and fertilizers? Who will compensate the farmer? Because that is what we want to know before we move out of this committee room today. And I know from the records, especially those that we sold through NCPB stores, the SPL Innovate Fertilizer, we are able to trace and know how many farmers bought these fake fertilizers. We've been able, from different government officials. Moses Kuria has pronounced himself of fake fertilizer that we have. I had the PS also to talk about some numbers. And he gave a figure. We want to know the exact number of bags fake and that has been in circulation.
Okay, let me just try to. First of all, there has been a UN cry on the shortage of fertilizer. The country did not receive their amounts in the adequate, quantities that they would consider. So, what formula does the ministry use to distribute the fertilizer to different parts of the country? And is the fertilizer procured by the government sufficient of the Kenyans, or rather to cushion the difference? Going back to the issue of local production, the language of local production has been in the air, and is something that we need to revisit. We are praying that soon we will not be confronted with a budgetary allocation for a local production facility. We would like the CS to give us the cost and benefit analysis of a local fertilizer. Do we have sufficient deposits of the raw materials? Can we actually produce at cost, or can we benefit from local production when we know that we have serious deficits of rock phosphate in this country? That probably you need to mention is the money. Yes, you rightfully say through exchequer. We shall check that. But we would like to see how the money that NCPB has been utilized. We would like to see the audited accounts of NCPB. Then the other issue is the close monitoring that NCPB says it does. It does a close measurement of fertilizer and testing of fertilizers. With this close monitoring, inspection and testing, let's know that dolomite doesn't have any active ingredient for any crop production in this country. They have been distributing from SPL Innovate. Now, there are some annexes that Annex 1C and Annex 1D. It shows that some centers in this country did not receive fertilizer. You see, subsidy is supposed to cut across the country. It's supposed to balance out everyone. There are some distribution centers, they were not supplied as per your report. Could we know the reasons why they were not supplied? We know before NCPB did arrive at that contract to conduct from SPL Innovate, there must have been exchanges. We will be interested because there were conversations.
Thank you for keeping it KBC Channel 1. My name is Irene Mchumo-Dem. On Saturday, we have Lucy Mwaura. We're glad you're keeping it KBC Channel 1. The pictures on your screen. The far end, we have a fertilizer probe underway at Parliament buildings, and on the other end, pictures from West Pokot County, where President is this afternoon expected to launch the multi-billion plant in the region. And this is one of the projects that is expected to turn economic fortunes of the region. And the pictures that you see on your screen that President William Ruto is already in West Pokot County listening.
The final product will be this one. It is called the cleaner.
For this one here?
Yeah. And I have a sample here. 1,400 I have to back to the less than 100 degrees. So this is the final product. In future, we are starting in Lore also, in Kenya, Africa, and Botswana.